Have you ever looked at a mountain and felt that it was not just standing there, but remembering something? Have you ever seen a road disappear between cliffs and wondered what kind of lives have passed through that silence before us? And what happens when a country often seen from far away begins to reveal itself not through headlines, but through snow-stone rivers and the quiet strength of its people? There are places in the world where beauty does not arrive gently. It rises suddenly, like a wall of ice against the sky, like a valley opening beneath clouds, like a river forcing its way through ancient rock. In northern Pakistan, the land has that kind of power. It does not feel designed for easy travel or quick understanding. It feels vast, guarded, and alive, as if every peak is holding back a story, and every road is asking the traveler to come closer with humility. This is where our journey begins, in Pakistan's northern mountain world, where some of Asia's wildest landscapes seem to hide something older than the roads that cross them. Here, mountains are not only scenery, they are witnesses. They have watched valleys change, villages endure rivers, carve deeper into stone, and generations build their lives in places where nature is both generous and unforgiving. Before Pakistan becomes a name on a map, it becomes a feeling. Snow peaks break through moving clouds. Narrow roads cling to cliffs above restless water. Small villages rest beneath enormous walls of rock and ice, their rooftops almost disappearing into the scale of the land. Morning light touches the ridges first, then slowly falls into the valleys, revealing stone homes. Wooden doors, terraced fields, and paths worn by footsteps long before the modern world arrived. The title of this journey begins to make sense here. These are wild mountains, but their wildness is not empty. Beneath the silence, there is memory. Beneath the stone, there is a human story. In these valleys, the ancient soul of Pakistan is not announced loudly. It is carried quietly in the rhythm of daily life, in the way people move through the land, in the warmth of a home after a cold road, in the sound of water outside a village, in the patience required to live beneath peaks that make everything human feel small. And perhaps that is why this place stays with those who enter it slowly. The mountains do not reveal everything at once. They protect what is old. They humble what is restless. They remind us that some countries cannot be understood from a distance, and some truths only appear after the noise of the outside world begins to fade. To understand this land, we have to follow that fading noise into the valleys, along the cliff roads beside the rivers, and toward the high places where Pakistan's ancient soul still seems to breathe beneath the shadow of the peaks. Why do some roads feel less like routes and more like acts of courage? Why does a journey change when every mile takes you farther from the noise of the world and closer to a silence that feels older than language. Around each curve, the world seems to narrow until there is only the sound of the engine, the breath of the valley, and the long shadow of peaks waiting ahead. This is where the journey begins to feel different. The modern world does not vanish all at once. It fades slowly. Towns become smaller. The road grows thinner. The mountains move closer. The sky feels wider, yet the path feels more fragile, as if every turn has been negotiated with the land rather than imposed upon it. Beside the road, rivers move with a force that feels almost alive. They are not calm decorations in the landscape. They are restless, powerful, and ancient, carrying meltwater through gorges and valleys, carving their own memory into the rock. Sometimes they run far below the cliffs, silver in the distance. Sometimes they come close enough for their sound to fill the road, a constant roar beneath the silence of the mountains. The farther north the road goes, the more it seems to ask something from the traveler. Patience, respect, a willingness to surrender control. Here, movement is never careless. Landslides, scarred slopes, narrow bends, tunnels through stone, and bridges stretched across wild water all remind us that reaching these valleys has never been easy. And perhaps that is part of why their soul has remained so deeply protected. The road into the wild is not only a passage through geography, it is a passage out of assumption. It carries the traveler away from the flat image of a country seen from far away and into a place where every cliff, every river crossing, and every village on the edge of the mountains begins to reveal another truth. Pakistan is not only understood through its cities, its politics, or its place on a map. Here it is understood through endurance. Along the way, trucks painted with bright colors move slowly beneath enormous brown slopes. Jeeps wait beside roadside cafes where tea rises in the cold air. Buses pass through valleys where the mountains seem too large for anything human to belong there. Yet life continues with quiet confidence. People travel, trade, visit family, carry supplies, open shops, repair roads, and keep moving because the mountains, no matter how severe, are also home. And as the road climbs deeper into the north, the feeling grows stronger that this land is not revealing itself easily. It is testing the pace of the journey. It is stripping away hurry. It is teaching the eye to notice small things, a house built into rock, a footpath above the river, a child standing near a doorway, a line of poplar trees shaking in the wind, a distant patch of green held inside a valley of stone. This is why the road matters. It prepares us for the mountains before we fully arrive. It shows that beauty here is not effortless. It must be approached through patience, through dust, through danger, through long distances and narrow passages. The ancient soul of this region is hidden not because it has disappeared, but because the land itself has always guarded it. And as the last signs of the outside world begin to fall behind, the road opens towards something larger, colder, and more overwhelming. The valleys widen, the peaks sharpen, the clouds begin to move around summits that seem almost impossible in scale. The journey has entered the wild, and now the mountains begin to make the world feel small. Why do mountains like these make human life feel both fragile and meaningful? What kind of beauty can feel peaceful and dangerous, at the same time pulling the eyes upward, while reminding the body how small it truly is? In northern Pakistan, the mountains do not rise softly from the land. They strike the horizon with edges of stone and ice sharp enough to seem unfinished, ancient enough to feel eternal. The valleys below them are deep and shadowed, cut by rivers, glaciers, wind, and time. Everything here feels larger than the human scale. A house, a road, a field, even an entire village can seem like a small gesture beneath the weight of the peaks. This is the kind of landscape that does not need to explain itself. It only needs to be seen slowly. Around Hunza, the mountains feel close enough to shape every breath of daily life. Roads follow the edges of cliffs. Villages rest on terraces carved into the valley. Trees gather around homes like small islands of green beneath the immensity of rock. Above them, jagged peaks rise with a presence so powerful they seem less like background and more like guardians watching over the valley. In places like Pasu, the ridges cut into the sky with an almost unreal sharpness. Their forms are dramatic, sudden, and unforgettable, like stone flames frozen in place. Clouds move between them. Light slides across their faces. And below, life continues in quiet proportion, a footpath, a bridge, a few houses. A traveler stopping for a moment because the view has made words feel unnecessary. Farther into the mountain world, the landscape keeps changing its voice. Around Skardu, the valleys open wider and the earth carries a different kind of silence. Rivers braid through broad spaces. Desert-like slopes meet snow-covered heights. The colors become softer and more severe at the same time: pale, dust, cold water, dark stone, bright sky. It is a place where emptiness does not feel empty. It feels vast, patient, and deeply alive. Then there are the glaciers, the slow rivers of ice moving through the high country. They remind us that these mountains are not still even when they appear motionless. Ice presses forward. Water is born from frozen heights. Stones are carried, cracked, and reshaped. The mountains breathe in a rhythm too slow for a single human life to measure, yet powerful enough to carve entire valleys. To stand near such landscapes is to feel time differently. The world of schedules, noise, and urgency begins to fall away. What remains is the sound of wind, water, and distant movement, the crunch of gravel underfoot, the thin cold of the air, the feeling that the earth itself has become the main character. And yet the beauty here is never simple. It is not the easy beauty of a postcard. It is severe. It is demanding. It can feel peaceful one moment and dangerous the next. A clear sky can turn quickly. A quiet slope can carry the memory of landslides. A river that shines beautifully in the valley can also remind every village that nature here is never fully under human control. That is part of what makes these mountains feel so honest. They do not pretend to be gentle. They do not adjust themselves for comfort. They ask those who live among them to understand limits, to read the weather, to respect distance, to build carefully, to move with patience, and to accept that survival here has always required both strength and humility. In meadows facing great peaks, the contrast becomes almost overwhelming. Green grass moves softly in the wind, while snow and rock rise above it with impossible force. A tent, a trail, a shepherd, a small fire, a horse grazing in the open air, these human details do not weaken the grandeur of the mountains. They deepen it. They show how life continues even where the land seems too powerful to allow it. At night, the feeling changes again. When darkness settles over the valleys and the last light leaves the summits, the mountains do not disappear. They become heavier, quieter, more mysterious. Villages turn into scattered points of light beneath black ridges. Above them, the sky opens wide, and the stars feel close enough to belong to the same ancient silence as the peaks. This is where the title begins to breathe with its full meaning. These are some of Asia's wildest mountains, not only because they are high, remote, and dramatic, but because they change the way a person feels inside the world. They humble the traveler. They slow the mind. They make beauty feel older than language, and silence feel like a form of knowledge. And beneath that silence, something remains. The mountains are not empty monuments. They are the outer walls of a deeper story. Their cliffs, glaciers, meadows, and valleys do not only display the power of nature, they protect the memory of people who have lived with that power for generations. They hold old roots, old villages, old forms of patience, and the quiet dignity of lives shaped by altitude, weather, and stone. So, as the journey moves through these peaks, it becomes clear that the wildness of northern Pakistan is not separate from its soul. The two are bound together. The land is severe, and the people have learned tenderness inside severity. The landscape is overwhelming, and life has learned how to continue beneath it. Here, the world feels small. But meaning feels larger. And beyond the peaks beneath the stone, the older memory of this land begins to appear. If the mountains are the walls, what memories are hidden inside them? How does a place carry an ancient identity without turning itself into a museum? And how can the past remain alive, not as something distant and silent, but as something still moving through homes, roads, hands, and valleys? In northern Pakistan, the ancient soul of the land does not always appear as one great monument. It reveals itself more quietly. It is found in the texture of old stone in wooden balconies, facing mountain air in narrow lanes, where generations have walked in forts, standing above valleys like patient guardians, and in pathways that seem to remember every traveler who once passed through these heights. From far away, the mountains may look wild and empty, but they have never been empty. These valleys have held movement-sheltered trade, prayer, and survival for centuries. People crossed difficult passes, followed rivers, built villages beneath impossible slopes, and learned to live with a landscape that could protect them one day and challenge them the next. Every old wall, every bridge, every trail across the valley suggests that this region has always been more connected, more layered, and more human than it first appears. The forts above the valleys give that memory a stronger shape. Their walls rise from ridges and hillsides as if they belong to the mountain itself. From above, they watch over orchards, rooftops, rivers, and roads, holding the feeling of a time when protection and survival were part of everyday life. They are not only signs of defense, they are signs of continuity. They remind us that to live beneath these peaks was always to understand both beauty and danger, welcome and caution, openness and watchfulness. Beyond the northern mountains, Pakistan's ancient soul reaches into the long memory of the Indus Valley. Far to the south at Mohenjo-daro, the remains of one of the great cities of the Indus civilization still stand in silence. Its ruins do not belong to these high valleys, but they belong to the deeper story of the same country. A story shaped by rivers, settlements, craft movement, and organized life, thousands of years before modern borders were drawn. When we speak of Pakistan's ancient identity, we are not speaking only of forts in the mountains or villages beneath the peaks. We are speaking of a civilization that once grew along the Indus River, leaving behind traces of a world where people built cities, traded goods, shaped clay, planned streets, and created a life whose echoes can still be felt in the land today. Here, the mountains guard one kind of memory. The Indus carries another. And together they remind us that Pakistan's soul is not recent, simple, or easy to define. It is layered, old, and deeply rooted in the earth itself. But in the mountain north, history does not need to be explained only through ruins or dates. It can be felt through atmosphere. A quiet mosque against a backdrop of rock. A mountain path crossing a slope where people have walked for generations. Hands shaping wood, weaving cloth, preparing food, or holding tools worn smooth by use. These moments reveal a kind of heritage that remains alive because it is practiced, not merely preserved. The ancient soul beneath the stone is also found in the relationship between people and land. The mountains teach slowness. The valleys teach patience. The seasons decide when roads are easy, when fields can be worked, when animals can move, when families prepare for cold, and when the high places open again. In such a world, culture is not separate from environment. It grows from it. It learns its rhythm from water, wind, altitude, and stone. This is why the old houses feel so deeply connected to the land around them. Their materials seem to come from the valley itself. Their shapes answer the slope, the weather, the light, and the need for shelter. A roof, a courtyard, a balcony, a thick wall, each one speaks of adaptation. Each one carries the wisdom of people who understood that survival in the mountains depends not on conquering the land, but on living carefully within it. The same quiet wisdom appears in old pathways. A trail crossing a valley may look simple from above, but it holds the memory of footsteps, traders, families, shepherds, travelers, children, elders, people carrying goods, stories, news and prayers from one settlement to another. Long before modern travel made distance feel smaller, these routes connected lives through some of the most difficult landscapes in Asia. And so the ancient soul of this region does not appear as a single treasure waiting to be found. It is scattered everywhere. It is in ruins and rooftops, in stone forts, and village kitchens, in mountain paths, and river crossings, in sacred spaces, and in the silence after evening falls. It is not frozen in the past. It continues because people continue. That is what makes this land feel so powerful. The mountains protect memory, but they do not bury it. They hold it close. They let it survive in forms that are humble, human, and deeply rooted. The past is not only behind the people who live here. It is beneath their feet, around their homes, inside their gestures, and above them in the peaks that have watched over everything. And as the journey moves from stone walls and ancient pathways into the valleys of daily life, the soul of this place begins to feel even more intimate. Because memory here is not only carved into ruins or guarded by mountains. It is still speaking through people. What does ancient memory look like when it is still part of daily life? Can a valley protect a way of living as strongly as mountains protect a border? After the stone walls, old pathways, and silent forts, the journey moves closer to the human heart of the mountains. The scale begins to soften. The peaks are still there, immense and watchful, but now the eye comes down from the summits into the valleys where smoke rises from homes. Footsteps move through narrow lanes, and daily life continues beneath a sky that has seen generations come and go. In places like Hunza, Skardu, Chitral, and the Kalash valleys, the ancient soul is not only something remembered, it is something lived. It appears in the rhythm of a morning market, in orchards held carefully between mountains, in stone houses warmed by family voices, in children walking along village paths, and in the quiet patience of people who have learned to build their lives around the shape of the land. Here, the valley is more than a place to live. It is a world of its own. Mountains rise around it like walls, but inside those walls, life has its own sound and pace. A river moves nearby, never fully silent. Trees bend in the wind. Fields step down the slopes in narrow terraces. The morning begins slowly with doors opening, animals moving, tea being poured, and the first light touching rooftops before it reaches the lanes below. People do not simply live beside the mountains. They live with them. They know where the shadow falls in winter, where the water runs in spring, where the road becomes difficult, and where the valley opens just enough for farming, gathering, and community. The markets bring another kind of life into view. They are not loud in the way great cities are loud, but they carry their own movement. Fruit stacked in small stalls, cloth hanging in soft colors, men talking beside shop fronts, women passing with quiet purpose, travelers stopping for tea. The sound of bargaining greetings, footsteps, engines, and distant water blending into the everyday music of the valley. In these moments, the ancient soul becomes less mysterious and more intimate. It is not hidden deep inside ruins. It is in the way people greet each other, in the way food is shared, in the way homes are opened, in the way memory survives through gestures so ordinary that they almost escape notice. And this is important because a place like this can easily be misunderstood from the outside. It can be turned into an image of remoteness or into a romantic idea of life untouched by time. But these valleys are not frozen. They are alive. They change, adapt, welcome visitors, face difficulties, raise children and young people to school, build new roads, and still hold on to the older rhythms that make them feel rooted. In Chitral and the Kalash valleys, the mountain world carries another layer of cultural memory. Traditions, clothing, festivals, music, and local identity give the valleys a distinct presence. Though specific claims about origins, rituals, or beliefs should be treated carefully and fact-checked. What can be felt immediately without explanation is that culture here belongs to place. It grows from the valley, from the seasons, from the distance between villages, from the mountains that surround every act of daily life. The beauty of these valleys is not only in their scenery, it is in their sense of continuity. A grandmother sitting near a doorway, a farmer moving through an orchard, a child running along a stone path, bread being made in the evening, tea poured slowly after a long road, a family gathering as the light fades from the mountains. These are not small details. They are the living texture of a nation's soul. And beneath everything, the mountains remain present. They stand beyond the rooftops, beyond the fields, beyond the market streets, reminding everyone that life here has always required balance. The valley gives shelter, but the peaks define the terms. The river gives water, but it also carries force. The land gives beauty, but never without effort. Perhaps this is why hospitality feels so meaningful in places like these. To welcome someone beneath such mountains is not a simple gesture. It is an act of human warmth inside a severe landscape. A cup of tea, a shared meal, a seat near the fire, a conversation with a stranger. These things become powerful because outside the door, the world is vast, cold, and unpredictable. As evening settles, the valleys change again. The light withdraws from the lower slopes and lingers for a moment on the highest peaks. Smoke rises. Voices soften. The river grows louder in the dark. Village lights appear one by one, small and golden, beneath the enormous shadow of the mountains. In that quiet, the ancient soul of Pakistan feels close. Not as an idea, not as a distant chapter of history, but as something breathing through the present, through homes, markets, orchards, prayers, songs, roads, and the patient lives of people who continue to belong to the land. And as these valleys hold their memory beneath the peaks, another question begins to rise. How does a place this ancient continue when the modern world arrives faster each year, carried by roads, phones, visitors, and change? How does an ancient place survive when the modern world arrives by road signal and screen? What remains unchanged when everything around a valley begins to move faster? In the mountain north of Pakistan, the past is never far away. It stands in the stone walls in the forts above the valleys, in the old paths crossing the slopes, and in the quiet habits of daily life. But this is not a land frozen in time. Beneath the same ancient peaks, the present is moving. Roads carry new visitors into once distant valleys. Small shops glow at night beneath dark mountains. Guest houses open near old villages. Young people walk through narrow streets with phones in their hands, speaking to a wider world while still living under the shadow of ridges their grandparents knew by heart. This is one of the most human truths of these mountains. Their soul survives not because nothing changes, but because people learn how to change without completely letting go. Along the roads, the signs of modern life appear slowly, almost carefully. a roadside cafe serving tea to travelers after hours of difficult driving. A bridge crossing a river that once made movement uncertain. A small store selling daily necessities beside a valley road. A school where children carry books beneath peaks that make the buildings seem tiny. A market where old conversations continue while new technology quietly enters the rhythm of the day. Nothing here feels simple. Modern access brings opportunity, connection, education, trade, and the possibility of a wider future. But it also brings pressure. More movement means more attention. More visitors mean more demand on fragile places. More roads mean easier journeys, but also deeper contact between the mountains and the outside world. Tourism has changed the way many mountain towns feel. Where silence once dominated the road, vehicles now arrive in greater numbers. Where homes once faced mostly neighbors and fields, guest houses, and small businesses begin to face travelers from far away. For some families, this brings income and possibility. For others, it brings the quiet worry that the valley may begin to move at a pace the mountains never taught it to follow. And still, life continues with the same deep attachment to place. A shopkeeper opens his door in the morning. A child walks to school along a road dusted by mountain wind. A family prepares food as evening settles. Young people take photographs of peaks that have always been there, sharing their home with a world that may never fully understand what those mountains mean from inside the valley. The old and the new do not stand on opposite sides here. They overlap. A phone signal reaches a village where wooden balconies still face ancient slopes. A motorbike passes a stone wall built by older hands. A traveler checks a map beside a river that has never needed a name on a screen to know where it is going. A young student may dream of a city, a career, or a life beyond the valley, while still carrying the memory of orchards, winter roads, family gatherings, and the sound of water at night. This is what makes the present-day mountain world so moving. It is not untouched, and it should not be imagined that way. It is alive, and living things are always changing. The real question is not whether change will come. It already has. The question is how a place holds its dignity while the world around it becomes faster, louder, and more connected. Even the land itself speaks of pressure. Glacial water runs through riverbeds. Slopes carry the marks of movement. Weather ice and flood remind every valley that the mountains are not only beautiful, but vulnerable and unpredictable. In a region where life depends so closely on water, roads, fields, and seasons, environmental change is not an abstract idea. It is felt in the ground, in the rivers, in the uncertainty of travel, and in the way communities prepare for what may come. Yet, there is tenderness in the way people keep going. They repair, they rebuild, they adapt. They open shops, send children to school, welcome travelers, answer phone calls, work in fields, guide visitors, prepare meals, and continue to live beneath peaks that have always demanded resilience. The ancient soul of this place is not a delicate thing locked away from the modern world. It is stronger than that. It survives through movement, through adjustment, through the everyday courage of people who remain connected to land even as their lives expand beyond it. As afternoon light falls over a mountain town, the contrast becomes clear. A road curves past houses and small businesses. A river moves below. Wires cross the street. Children laugh near a shopfront. Someone pours tea. A vehicle disappears around a bend, heading deeper into the valley. Above it all, the peaks stand in their old silence, unchanged in appearance, yet watching a world beneath them transform year by year. There is something deeply moving about that image. It shows that Pakistan's northern mountains are not only a place of ancient memory, they are part of a living nation. A nation where old routes meet new roads, where tradition meets ambition, where young lives are shaped by both inheritance and possibility, and where the mountains remain the great witnesses over everything. The soul here is not preserved by stopping time. It is preserved by belonging, by knowing where one comes from, even when the road leads elsewhere, by carrying memory into modern life without turning memory into a burden, by allowing the world to arrive, but not allowing it to erase the valley's deeper rhythm. And as the day fades, the lights of modern settlements begin to glow beneath ancient peaks. The mountains do not speak, but they seem to hold the scene together. The old homes, the new roads, the river, the school, the market, the traveler, the child, the family, the silence. This is not a land outside of time. It is a land where time has many layers. And as the journey nears its end, those layers begin to gather into one final understanding. The wild mountains did not hide Pakistan's ancient soul to keep it away from the world. They held it close so it could survive. Maybe the soul of a place is not found in one monument, one valley, or one road. Maybe it is found in what survives when the world changes around it. Maybe it is carried in the silence between mountains, in the sound of rivers below cliffs, in the warmth of a home after a cold journey, and in the way people continue to belong to a land that has never been easy. By the end of this journey, northern Pakistan no longer feels like a distant image. It feels like a living world of stone water memory and human endurance. The mountains that first appeared wild and overwhelming now feel like more than scenery. They feel like guardians. They have watched roads climb through danger villages, hold on through seasons, rivers carve through valleys, and generations build lives in places where beauty and hardship are never far apart. The road into the wild taught us that this land cannot be rushed. Every cliff tunnel bridge and river crossing asked for patience. Every bend in the road pulled the outside world farther away and brought the traveler closer to something quieter and older. To enter these mountains was not only to move north, it was to move inward into a country whose depth is often hidden from those who only look from a distance. The peaks made the world feel small. Their scale changed the rhythm of thought. Beneath them, human life seemed fragile, but not insignificant. A village under a wall of snow, a meadow facing a great summit, a road tracing the edge of a valley, a single light glowing at night beneath black ridges. These small human details did not disappear against the mountains. They became more meaningful because of them. And beneath the stone, the ancient soul began to appear. It appeared in forts above valleys, in old houses, shaped by weather and slope, in pathways worn by generations, and in the deeper memory of the Indus, where Pakistan's ancient identity reaches far beyond the northern peaks. The past was not presented as something locked away. It was felt as something layered into the land itself, carried by rivers, walls, roads, and hands. Then, the valleys brought that soul closer. In Hunza, Skardu, Chitral, the Kalash valleys, and the mountain communities of the north, memory became human. It lived in markets, orchards, kitchens, schools, prayers, fields, and family gatherings. It lived in the simple dignity of daily life beneath immense peaks. And in the present day, under those same ancient peaks, the story continued to move. Roads brought visitors. Phones brought the wider world closer. Guest houses, schools, shops, bridges, and markets showed a region adapting to change. Climate pressure and fragile landscapes reminded us that the mountains are not only powerful, but vulnerable. Yet through all of this, the soul of the place did not vanish. It remained in belonging, in resilience, in the quiet decision to carry the old rhythm forward while stepping into a changing world. This is why the title matters. Where Asia's wildest mountains hide an ancient soul. Not because that soul is lost, not because it is unreachable, but because it has been held close by the land. The mountains have not hidden it to keep it away. They have hidden it the way hands protect a flame from the wind. They have sheltered it through isolation, through silence, through difficulty, through the long patience of valleys that could never be understood quickly. Pakistan seen through these mountains becomes more than the image often carried by outsiders. It becomes a place of extraordinary scale and quiet intimacy. A place where wildness and warmth live together. A place where stone can feel ancient, water can feel like memory, and a village light beneath a dark peak can say more about belonging than any map ever could. As the final light moves across the summits, the land seems to return to silence. The rivers continue below. The roads curve into shadow. The villages glow softly in the evening. The mountains stand above everything immense and still, as if keeping watch over all that has passed and all that remains. They do not reveal everything. They never did. They ask us to listen longer, look slower, and understand that some places are not meant to be consumed in a glance. They are meant to be approached with humility. They are meant to be felt through distance, weatherstone, and human kindness. And perhaps that is the final truth of this journey. Pakistan's northern mountains are not only places to see, they are places that remember. They remember roads carved through cliffs, ancient paths across valleys, homes built under impossible skies, and people who continue to live with courage beneath the weight of the peaks. The world may change around them. The roads may widen. The valleys may grow louder. The future may arrive by signal screen and passing headlights. But somewhere beneath the snow-stone rivers and evening light, the ancient soul remains, and the mountains still refuse to let it go.